We move from standing stones and burial chambers to a Neolithic village known as Skara Brae, which was continuously occupied for about 400 years before being abandoned around 2500 BC. Nowhere else can we get a clear idea of what the interior of houses occupied by an early farming community some 4,500 years ago actually looked like. A great storm in 1850 blew away sand covering the site and exposed some of the houses for the first time for hundreds of years. Excavations took place over many years, and 9 houses and a workshop have been uncovered. This is a reconstruction of the houses that they found in Skara Brae when they had that sandstorm and discovered how people lived thousands of years ago. And all the houses had the same design, which made them think that the community wanted to conform to live in the same way. It is entered by a long passage, and the interior looks like the chambered cairns, such as we've seen at Mace Howe. Like the black houses and long houses in other parts of Scotland, the centre of the home is the hearth, where the fire would be continually burning and people would sleep around the fire. When we came to Skara Brae, the Orkney weather changed, and so we've come to the brilliant blue sea and the vivid green fields and the warm sun. It's fantastic. Here in our village in the west, we are little regarded. The lords of the Tilth and Loch are quarrying, we hear, great stones to make a stone circle. In the last of the snow, a great one died. He lies in that stone hollow in the east. A winter sunset will touch his mouth. He carries a cairngorm on his cold finger to the country of the dead. They come here from Birsay to take our fish for taxes. Otherwise we are left in peace with our small fires and pots. Will it be a morning for fishermen? The sun died in red fires. Then the night swarmed with stars like fish. The sea gives and takes. The sea devoured 4 houses one winter. Ask the old one to make a clay lamp. The ripening sun may be pleased with the small flame at plough time. The Broch of Gurness is about 2,000 years old, and it includes the Broch, the tower, and within that is the little village, which has been used over many hundreds of years. By the size of its ruins that have been excavated, it is imagined to have been lived in by one of the most important families on Orkney. And the Broch Tower is a massive construction, which is why that survived better than the houses that we are looking at, of which of course only the stone remains. Originally the Broch had a single central earth, a sunken feature called a well, and a ring of stone-built cupboards against the wall. After the partial collapse of the tower, the arrangement was altered and a new staircase was added because the original was unsafe. The so-called well was filled in and the Broch interior re-equipped with a new set of partitions, and most of what now survives is from this later phase. But the view of the interior now, of course, is incomplete because only the stone fittings have survived. During the Iron Age, the scene would have been very different. There may have been a raised wooden floor, a ledge running around the inside of the wall, and this structure would have been capped by a conical thatched roof. Ladders would have supplemented the single stone stair. And then the thickness of these walls was not only defensive, it was also required to counterbalance the considerable outward thrust exerted by the internal structure and the roof, and of course also provided protection from the cold winds. There are 6 houses around here. Each had an entrance opening from a passage running around outside the tower, and they had a large sleeping living room and smaller storerooms. And each living area had a hearth, cupboards and sleeping places. The houses would have been dark and smoky, with food stored hanging from the rafters away from vermin. It would have been noisy and smelly. In summer it would have been relatively quiet during the day as people worked in the fields, on the shore, at the fishing. During the winter it was probably crowded and claustrophobic, with everyone jostling for a well-lit spot to work on bone tools, make straw ropes, prepare animal skins and thongs, spin or weave. Either side of Untitled Sound is a series of brochs, and from here, from Gurness, it is possible to look across the sound to Mid-Howe. And this concentration of Iron Age settlements reflects the importance of the sea for transport and for food. The shores of Untitled Sound might be described as the heart of Iron Age Orkney, just as the area 7 miles to the southeast represents the heart of Neolithic Orkney. This is the Brough of Birsay, the stronghold of one of the most important Norse earls, Earl Thorfinn Sigurdsson. And there are remains of Pictish settlements here from the 6th and 7th century, and then the Norse people came. And This is the remains of a Viking settlement and church where maybe St Magnus was buried to begin with. The Broch is a little island which is cut off at high tide. There's a causeway to walk along, and also stones and seaweed, so it's a bit of a challenge, but it is stunning all around, with the wind whipping up the waves and the blue sea and sky and the oyster catchers calling.